Okay, so the first exercise we're gonna do is a step-by-step method, and I'm choosing the one from the class because the sequence is quite simple. It's just like b minus c minus a plus, no, b minus c plus a plus, b plus c minus a minus. Okay, it's just the sequence, and firstly, I'm just gonna introduce what is the step-by-step method and also how do we deal with what is happening here. Okay, so basically the first thing that I did is just draw the actuators. So we have three because it's A, B, and C. So I just drew A, B, and C. Actually, I'm gonna label them so it's easier. A, B, and C. And as we can see, they're all in the standard position, which is not advanced, but as we can see here, the first movement, it's B minus. So B minus means that the first thing that the B is going to do is it's going to be activated and then it just goes back. So I think the best way to start a step-by-step method exercise is you first draw your actuators and the position they should start in. So here we can see that since B firstly goes in, we need to make it begin at B plus. And also since C and A, their first movement is to go out, they should start at the inside position. So basically the only one that we need to change is the B. Fine. So now I'm just going to change B real quick. And remember that when we change the position of a piston, sorry, we also need to change the position of the valve, because like this, just like take a look when you're rearranging everything to make sure that the pressure is in the size it's supposed to be. So like here, what is activated, it's commuted by this side, and the pressure, I didn't change these things, but I'm just gonna change so it's more reliable. So the pressure is coming from here to here and it's entering here. So this would make the piston go inside, which was the drawing that was here like 30 seconds ago. So now, since I already changed the position of the piston, now I just change the valves so it is commuted to the other side. When I did this, sometimes it doesn't change everything together, so we just gotta fix it. And also, like, we're gonna have to draw it by hand, so you should know how to do it. But then we can check again just to make sure everything is right. So this side used is this one, and then the pressure is coming from this one, this side, and filling here. So yeah, that's right. Okay, so the next thing on the step-by-step is, as the name of the method already says, it's step by step. So saying it like this, it makes it sound dumb, but okay. But first, we're gonna have one step specifically dedicated for each one of the movements. So what we do is we split each set of valves and sensors and pressure lines into each step. So we're gonna draw like here, sorry. Here we have 6 movements, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Yeah, 6. So we're gonna have 6 pressure lines, one for each one of it, and 6 set of valves below. I'm gonna draw it and it's gonna make more sense. And also the step by step has the thing that it's almost every time it's the same thing. You just repeat it all over and change the sensors that you're using. So it's quite easier when compared to the waterfall method, which is a little more complex. But it is also really intuitive. So once you learn, you're gonna know it. I need one more. Wait. I need one more, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna reposition the lines, but what you're gonna know is that we have 6 kind of like command setups, which will activate a valve based on the triggering of a sensor. And it also requires that the order is kept. So we have a set of things that we need to make sure so the order is kept. What I like to do, because I think it makes it easier, is to write. Here I have just a sequence already made so we can base ourselves, but we write the order like B minus, C plus, A plus, B plus, C minus, A minus. Okay, so we have the order that we're gonna activate the sensors, and now we can connect it to the pressure lines. So basically the step-by-step says that each line it's a step. So B plus, B minus. What is the movement that makes B minus happen? It's when you shift this side, right? When you activate this side of the valve. So what we're gonna do is just connect the B minus to this line. And on the step-by-step, I like to connect these lines before to the valves, and then we can move to the part below. Okay, and now we have C plus. So C plus, you're gonna move this valve, so we just connect it. And this part is really easy, so I'm just gonna do it real quick. But I think it's kind of okay because we just move the lines and connect it. And then I'm gonna do it in red so it's like highlighted, but basically I like to do a little circle so just we know that that is a connection. And I think it's also good because it crosses a lot of lines, and maybe the connection was like here or something, so we just draw a little circle on the place that it's in fact connected. Okay, so how are we gonna activate the different lines? On the step-by-step, what we need to do now is just like activate the first line, and then activate the second line, and then deactivate the first. You see, like you just activate one, activate the other, deactivate the one before, and you keep doing that. And basically we're gonna have the common sets, also 6 because we have 6 movements. So here I'm just drawing the pressure line, the one that's gonna go to all of the valves. Don't forget to add the pressure itself because it's important. So okay, I sewed a bit and I have a set that was already ready that I just copied, but you're gonna see that it's always the same sequence. So it's not that hard once you get the idea of it. I'm gonna change it to start because I'm saying everything in English and it's written partida and it's kind of weird. So okay, so the first thing is to start, obviously, but we're gonna understand something that is really important on the step-by-step. Like for you to have a movement, you need that the last line has pressure. So like the first movement here, it's B minus, right? So we need to make sure that the last movement, which was A minus, happened. This is especially important for like continuous cycles and for when you're going from the first one to the second one and so on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an end with the line that it's above, or like the line that is before, because this time it's the last line and the first one, so it's not exactly above, but okay. So here we need to make sure that the last line has pressure before we activate the first one. And then what is going to happen is, since this movement is not triggered by a sensor, but by the pushing of the button, we're just going to see what is supposed to happen. So if the last line has pressure and if the button is pressed, there's going to be air coming out here, right? Because here and here, okay, so there's air coming. And if there's air coming, the valve is going to commute this valve, and this side it's going to be connected here. Okay, so if the air is coming out of it, what is supposed to happen? The first line should be activated, right? So we're just going to connect the line here, and that's it. Simple as it is. And then this is kind of like a rule, so it's really easy. We just gotta keep doing it like that, but it's important to understand what is happening. But what is gonna deactivate this valve? This valve. It's gonna be the triggering of the second line, right? Because B minus, it's gonna, the line of B minus, it's gonna be turned off when the line of C plus is turned on, right? Because it's one step at a time. So when we trigger C plus to happen, we're gonna have to turn off B minus. And this happens when the valve commutes back to the position that it is. Because remember that when we press the button, it commuted to this side. I just didn't draw, but, and now it has to commute to the other side when C plus it's on. So we're just gonna connect it like this. And this is when the rule that I was saying comes. Like for each command set that we have, the line that we want to trigger is connected to this side, which is the outlet. The left side, which is the side that triggers it, it's connected to the sensor and the previous line here. And the next line is connected to the right side, which is the one to deactivate it. So we just gotta keep doing it all over again. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is just still, so I can draw it multiple times. And I'm just gonna replace it by a sensor. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna fit like 6, but since we're not in paper, we have something that's good, and we can just copy and paste. So, okay. Okay, so I just replaced all the buttons with a sensor. So this is a sensor. And what we're gonna do now is connect the lines and connect the sensors with the right position. So I think that it's really easy about the step-by-step method is that we know that the movement that it's going to trigger, the next one is the previous one. So here we can just place like an SB minus, which is a sensor for B minus, because when B minus happens, we're going to trigger C plus. So we can just do that. So it's SC plus, SA plus, SB plus, and SC minus. Okay, so now we have that, and we can connect the lines in the way that I just explained. So this is the previous one. So since it's the second movement, we connect it to the first line, and then here we connect it to the second line because it's the one we're triggering, and this is the third because it's the next. I'm gonna just fast forward to all the lines connected, and if there's any doubt on how it happened, I'm pleased to answer it, but it's just basically that, like, the center one is the line we're activating, the left one is the previous one, and the right one is the next one. Okay, so now everything is connected. It almost looks like a line doing like this, like a stair. So it's easy, it's logical, so it's okay. We just gotta practice and you're gonna know. And one thing that's worth mentioning is just that since the next movement of the last one is the first one, it is connected to the first line. So just like this. Because when you trigger the button and trigger the first line, you're going to deactivate this sensor. So now what you're going to do is position the sensors, because here we can see that like the sensors, they are pressed when the actuator is in the position. So like the SA plus, SA minus sensor, sorry, is pressed. And like the SB plus is also pressed and SC minus is also pressed. So this is really important about like getting the initial position right, because it also rules how we're going to set our sensors. But basically now we just see the ones that are in the position. So it's SA minus, SB plus, and SC minus. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is just press the sensors. So SB plus, it's pressed. And SC minus is also pressed. We don't have SA minus because its movement is just, because it's not a continuous cycle, it's just a one-time cycle. So we just gotta like, once it finishes, it doesn't trigger anything, it stops the circuit, and then we just press the button to start it again. But on another example, I'm gonna show it how we do a continuous cycle. But we're gonna just basically press. Yeah, so we press. And for that to be done properly, we also gotta move the valve, because we're not gonna just change the sensor to press if we don't commute the valve. So what we're gonna do is just move the this is hard. Just move the connections so the sensor is pressed. So what is happening here is that the pressure is coming from here to here, but it doesn't move this valve because the end valve needs both of the sides to be activated, and the fourth line is not activated on this case, so it doesn't do anything. But like here, we're gonna do the same thing. So we're just gonna move. Wait. Okay, so we just moved the sensors to the commuted position. And basically, this is what we'll have. Let's just make sure that everything is properly connected. We can also draw the little circuits here. And once they're all there, we also gotta change here. Actually, I'm just gonna change the lines because I think it's easier. So since we need the last line to be activated, as I already mentioned, we're just gonna change the connections of this sensor, this valve, sorry, so it is activated, because the last line needs to be on, and it's also like deactivated by the first line. So for that to happen, it needs to be activated. Okay, so now we got the whole position, and that's it. That's the step-by-step exercise. And on the next one, I'm gonna do a more complex step-by-step and then move to the waterfall. But that's it.